Doyin. Welcome to my channel. I am a singer and teacher based in the UK, and I thought I would start creating some videos to bridge the gap between Nigerian and Britain. So I am a British Nigerian, born and raised, and I thought I'll create this series as an opportunity to open up a discussion between my Nigerian and my British Nigerian. We are one family, and I believe that we should have a sense of a unified connection. Even though we are raised differently, we have different mentalities, but I am a proud Nigerian, very proud. So I've just got back from Nigeria and it's very cold in the UK, but do you know what, this kind of stirred up an idea in my head about creating some content about bridging the gap between Nigeria and Britain, the United Kingdom. And I thought, why not start this? It's a perfect time. Coming back after a month of sunshine has really opened my eyes to a lot of things and ideas to share my experience. Today I'm going to be talking all things being a British Nigerian. Let's get started. I'd like to remind you all to feel free to subscribe. You're not obliged to do so, but it would be nice. So let's get into the video. As I mentioned before, my name is Doyin. My full name is, I'm one of two actually. I'm a twin, so my other name would be Taiwo. There's this sort of mythical story that Cain Day sent me to the world to explore the world, blah, blah, blah. But I have a twin sister. We're identical twins and we are 2 minutes apart. Now, just a little bit about me. My dad is actually British. So he was born here and he was raised partially in Nigeria, schooled there as well, and schooled in the UK too. So my dad is technically British and my mum is Nigerian. So she came over in her 20s and yeah, has been here ever since. Sharing my experience, I want to talk more from a travel perspective, and I'm so grateful. The past 3 consecutive years, I have traveled to Nigeria consistently. So last year I went to Abuja for the first time. And when I go to Nigeria, I usually go to Abeokuta, Ogun State. I've been to Ilorin, I've been to Ibadan. So recently I was in Lagos, I went to Ikeja, I went to Surulere, I went to Yaba, and a lot of incredible places. And for me, bridging the gap of the mentality is that, you know, I know that my perspective is going to be very subjective, just like anyone out there on the internet who's put in their views. But, you know, I just thought I would share my views just to share some insight into what it's like, and for people who have never been. I would like to encourage, if you are Nigerian, British Nigerian, like, you need to visit your motherland. It's a must, you know, not only for the enriching experience, but travel is just one of the most beautiful gifts of life, to see another world, and I highly recommend. So I'm going to be talking more about the mentality and bridging the gap, and I just want to encourage people, more of the British Nigerian people who are potentially going to travel for the first time, and what to expect. So we're going to just talk our way through some of the, I don't want to label them as pros and cons, but I'd like to label them some of the cultural differences. Number one, when you arrive in the airport, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, which is in Lagos, or any Nigerian airport from my experience. And might I add, I've been to Nigeria over 12 times. So from, you know, early childhood, from like 0 to 20, a lot of trips I've taken. And then the past 3 years, I've been consecutively every single year. So I definitely think I'm equipped to give some advice. And one thing I will say is that it can be a bit overwhelming. So when you arrive there, there are a lot of people who want to assist you. And we have to be mindful here. Like, to me, I understand you can be very cranky getting out of the airport. I can't lie, especially if it's like a morning flight. You know, coming from the UK, we've obviously had an evening flight, because usually if you're traveling with BA or Virgin Atlantic, it's usually an even flight from around 10 p.m. and then a 6-hour, 30-minute flight. The flight is great, by the way. The food, honey, the food. And my only question to BA and Virgin is that if we are going to, you know, the African continent, or, you know, a cultural country, you know, with rich culture like Nigerian, like, to be Nigerian is the best thing. I love our people. We are so hardworking. We are so tenacious and creative and high on education. there's this pride that comes with being Nigerian that I think British Nigerians, we do embrace and we should embrace. But this part of my channel is really to shed light on us bridging the gap, because oftentimes there can be a misconception that, oh, British Nigerian is, oh, life is golden. Like, honey, it's cold on these streets. And I think I want to debunk the myth that everything that glitters is gold. Like, I know it's different. Obviously, I haven't experienced certain things that maybe my mum had to go through or my dad had to go through in and out of living in Nigeria. And I'm so grateful. However, my dad always talks of a great time he had, you know, back in his times when it was completely different, you know, so a lot has changed. But I think for anyone traveling into Nigeria or to a new country, like, you have to go in with an open mind. You can't go in with any preconceived notions. And I'm so grateful living in the UK. That's one of the benefits of being raised a British person. In the UK alone, you know, you're able to see and meet people from all around the world. Like, I have a friend who's in Australia. We went to uni together. You know, I've met people from Sri Lanka to Kenya to Ethiopia to Eritrea to Malta to Denmark. You know, I've been to Denmark. Like, traveling and living in London, you know, it's a great experience because you can literally meet everyone from everywhere. So having that mindset and mentality, even when I went to America back in 2018, you see the benefits of being a UK British Nigerian, because you are exposed, you are enlightened, and being in a household where education is so prized. Nigerian as a nation, as a people, we do prize in education and being informed. So being a British Nigerian and the level of intellect and quote unquote respect that the UK is given in terms of education, it's just like it's just a match made in heaven. So being British Nigerian, I am very, very proud. So next up, I'm going to be talking about if you're traveling with a friend, just so that you guys can stay together. I remember last year I was with my sister, so it was fine, but it's like, it can be a bit overbearing when there's like lots of people coming towards you. You know, it's not their fault. Times are hard for a lot of people. And in as much as, you know, Nigeria is an incredible land full of tenacious people, like there are entrepreneurs, but there is, you know, not a good distribution of wealth, which is quite sad. But we're not going to go into too much political talk. But as a Nigerian, as a British Nigerian, it is very sad, because I'm like, there's so much potential here. And to think that people have to go through desperate measures because of the greed and, you know, the inequalities of wealth, it's just very sad. But we're going to move on. So when you get off the plane, the humidity, if anything, is gonna hit you. It's gonna hit you. Obviously, it's nice if you have your Nigerian passport. That just makes life easier. So I don't know about the visa application, etc. But having a Nigerian passport, my passport was renewed in 2021. That's my Nigerian passport. So I have a Nigerian passport, and obviously I have a British passport because I was born and raised in the UK. Now, so the humidity is a lot. I think what makes Nigeria so hot is actually the humidity. People always say there's breeze in Nigeria. I don't know where they're talking about, but Nigeria is very hot. You don't want to underestimate the heat, especially if it's your first time. It might cause a bit of irritation for you because you're going to be like, where is the air? Like, you might feel like you can't really breathe much. But your body is an incredible incredible system that definitely will help you to adapt. It might take 1 or 2 days, but one thing I will say in terms of traveling, if it's your first time, definitely check up on any sort of yellow fever or, you know, malaria, anti-malaria prevention that you can take, because yeah, I did take a tablet which I might insert somewhere, which was £22 for 8 tablets. I know it's quite dear, but I've been taking that tablet 2 weeks prior to I traveled, and every week consecutively. Luckily, I did not get unwell. Last year was a different story. Not too great, let's just say not too great. But yeah, so I'm back here, I'm healthy. So I would say definitely get your medication sorted just to make sure that you're safe and you don't catch anything. The food, let's talk about some pros, honey. So the weather is obviously a pro, but it can be a bit extreme, especially if you're coming from the UK, which is prone to be rainy and grey and cold. Nigeria is going to be a big like whoa, but honey, I'm not complaining, because I think right now I'm like all the sunshine, all the vitamin D, like I'm black, okay? I'm Nigerian, yes, I'm British, but I am black, okay? I'm from, you know, my parents were African, probably predominantly based in Nigeria. So my blood is very much African. So that it gets to a point where my body is craving warmth. So being in Nigeria, honey, like I take all the sunshine, but remember your SPF. Now, the weather is hot, so it's great to make sure you have your SPF. I like to use the La Roche-Posay, which is just a very efficient, effective spray. No white cast, and I have normal to dry skin, so it does have a little tiny bit of oil residue, but not anything too crazy. I can vouch for the product. I've been using it for over 3-4 years now, and I buy literally a 200ml spray bottle, which is for face and body, and that lasts me for a year or two. Because in the UK, sometimes I can be a bit cheeky with not applying my sunscreen, but it is important to wear your sunscreen every day, even if you are living in a place as cold as the UK. Moving on to the food. Now, in Nigeria, I know people have been talking about, oh, Lagos is expensive now, but remember, if you work and live in the UK and you've been earning in pounds, let's just say happy days. So your pounds is going to be worth a lot. And it's so sad that the declining rate of the Naira is dropping. I think it's probably like 900 and something now, which is like so absurd because it's like 900 and something to £1. So just imagine when I would go out to eat, it would be like 1,000 something, 2,000 something, like, which is like £1, £2 something, you know. And one thing that you will love in Nigeria is that they are not stingy with their portions. Like, they are giving you wholesome, tasty, hearty food, and the portion size reflects them too. That is the best part of Nigeria. Like, obviously make sure you keep some of your meds, honey, because in the beginning, in the early years when I would go like primary school age, like in secondary school, like my body was still adjusting. So certain times I would eat foods there and it would be so good, but then my tummy would be like, what are you doing to me? So yeah, my stomach was not very happy with some of the choices I made. But some of the foods you can find there, all types of food, local food, amala, everything and anything. KFC, like they have all types of restaurants, from Sweet Sensation, Mr. Biggs. They have all types, but I will encourage, like, when you go on holiday, always try to eat the local foods. I've never understood why people travel and then they'll be desiring their Western food. I'm just like, what is the point of traveling? Like, don't be afraid, try something new. I remember I was in Surulere and I had some goat pepper soup. Like, the food is wholesome and it's so cheap. Food is so cheap. I remember a bottle of water was like 30p. Like, food in Nigerian expenses compared to the UK is definitely a huge pro. Massive, massive pro. The pros are, it's very affordable, it's very cheap, it's big portion sizes, so you're actually getting a lot for your buck, if not more, because there's something about Nigerian culture that just indulges in like giving you a lot on your plate. Although there are some times where the British side of me is like, you lot are feeding me so much food. And they won't ask sometimes, they will just like give you lots of food. And I'm quite petite.